you're putting yourself out there. We'll see if it works out for you. Maybe your curse is stronger than their curse. But, Bren, we're heading into Misfits versus Gigantti here. These are two giants of the EU scene.
Misfits is what the Analyst desk predicted. Again, I'm not too certain. Gigantti have shown time and time again, recent tournaments, their performance last week. They're a star team. They've got the potential, and they are right in saying, you know, the upset potential, the Reinhardt compositions, you know, they are going to be coming out to play. You're up against Fraggy on Reinhardt. That's a scary proposition, and Nepal is going to be the first map that we're going to be heading into.
The thing is, as we end in Nepal, is that this is a Tracer playground, and what better Tracer would you want on your team right now than Logix?
Yeah.
The desk brought it up, but you would have to be blind not to agree. Logix is one of the best, if not the best, Tracer right now in the West. He has been playing phenomenally well. Of course, Effect would probably give some contest to that title, and for good reason.
Well, heading into this one, that's exactly the question that was raised in my mind. How are Gigantti going to be taking care of Logix on the Tracer? That man is a superstar in his own right. The statistics that Sideshow was spouting off the Analyst desk, absolutely crazy to think about. The fact that he has 34 kills on average every 20 minutes. His pulse bomb, I think, his average kills per pulse bomb, I think, is a ridiculous statistic. When I last checked it out, it's about something like 3 kills per pulse bomb. Crazy stuff, if not a little bit less than that. But regardless, moving into this, let's look at these compositions, because Gigantti, they're not going to be opting for a sort of traditional Ryan composition. They look like they want to run with the traditional dive, the 2-2-2 dive, and Misfits want to be meeting them head on with it. They're running that double hit scan. Let's see how they match.
The one key difference here, of course, is that Gigantti will be running the Genji versus the Soldier in play from Misfits. So a key here is that Gigantti is going to want to dive in here a little bit more to put pressure to Vic. You don't want to give him crazy sightlines, but right now the fight already underway. Logix working his way to the back. Gigantti just trying to get the point, but they will strike first.
Getting that first pick is excellent for them. Zebasai falling means that even with Logix, if he goes Super Saiyan here and picks up the following kills, it's realistically not going to be working out. And Gigantti, they win the initial team fight, and this will mean the first checkpoint, the first points, will be going their way.
The key here for Misfits is that they need to pick a position and poke back and forth from it here. They can't dive in quite as deeply as Gigantti can, where Gigantti, running the Genji, well, as I say that, Tavik has had enough. He wants to fight Ninja with Ninja. Now we have a true mirror composition underway.
We do indeed. Tavik on the Genji. Let's see what he's capable of. We see lines being contested a little bit, but there is a team fight that's kicking off here. Front now, trading quite evenly as it stands, so that will be a follow-up as well. The kills 100% going away at Misfits here. Dragon Blade used by Linkser. He wants to try and equalize it for his team, wants to try and salvage it to a degree, but Swoosh is just happily to run him down with the Tesla cannon. And then again, with Gigantti, they've got a few players alive here. They can keep the stall going, but Misfits is looking like this is their checkpoint to keep, or is it?
You certainly have some contestation coming out here from Gigantti, but it's going to be difficult for them to flip it back given the number disadvantage they're at. Yeah. They are probably looking down for a full reset. One thing that I think is really worth noting here, though, is that Misfits, now that they swap to a Genji of their own, they can dive just as hard as Gigantti can, and you saw that with Tavik not wasting any time in getting in to set this fight up.
That was a beatdown now to Davin, but you are right, yeah, it does eventually flip over to the Misfits side. Now they are in control, but still 57%, a decent amount of store brought up by Gigantti. Now, let's take a look at these ults, because online for both these teams, they're both going to have the defensive support ultimates, the transcendences, the sound barriers, and they're going to see if they can initiate in with them. It's really going to be a game of ult economy here. Whatever team can be more efficient with their ultimates is most likely going to be winning the next engagement.
Gigantti has two options. They can either go for a junk push here, draw out the ultimates, and then really secure the next fight, or they can match power for power here if they want to be greedy. But with Xiao's going down early on, I don't think they want to invest anything into this now.
This is an excellent push by Gigantti, because not only do they, realistically, they haven't used a single ult other than Zap is a self-destruct, I believe. Even then, I don't think they actually did use it. They didn't use any ults at all on the side of Gigantti, and Misfits ended up using a Transcendence, the Primal Rage as well, and Manitin ended up using a self-destruct. So trading 3 ultimates for nothing is an incredible trade for Gigantti, and now they can come into this next fight with utmost confidence.
That's a win for Gigantti, and also just smart play. Maybe it got forced out of them because Shaz went down early on, but now they can layer these support ultimates in, and they take down Zupe early on. That means they might even be able to save the barrier here if they can snowball this fast enough. Davin working the outskirts right now, laying in the damage, and Linkser, he goes for the blade, and they also did drop the barrier. So Gigantti, they were all in on this fight.
Yeah, Gigantti, they have just slammed this home. I don't think it's too bad that Gigantti ended up committing the sound barrier to try and win this one out, because Zebasai ended up using a sound barrier as well to no avail. So Gigantti now in control. Misfits, however, they've got a decent amount of percentage on the board, 75%, and they are going to be once again trying to attack and retake this from Gigantti, but ultimate CP, tell me about it.
Well, right now, this is the moment where Tvik really does need to make his money. He has a golden opportunity here. Won't have support ultimates getting in his way. If he picks his right moment here, he can tear this open, and there he goes. Tvik on the way in with the blade, diving straight in, going for Shaz, and gets his man with Logics. That's going to be it for the blade, but it has set Misfits up rather well.
Still up one pick.
Oh, no.
Realistically, is it going to be enough? Did he just jump off the edge? No, I think it reset just in the nick of time. He did. He just got up Fraggy. That was a bit tight there, my man. That was a bit risky, but there we go. 95% encounter. Gigantti still holding on to this. Misfits trying their hardest. Tvik is so weak. 4 HP in a dream. He does it. He clinches it with the rest of his team. The overtime will be burning, but Misfits are in control of the point.
And now that they're at 77%, soon to be 80, we're in the realm where it might just be one more fight that decides the map, but Misfits holding a key advantage here. Not only do they have the option of Logic just getting early pulse bombs to end things before they begin, they have the Primal Rage in reserve. Gigantti, what they want to get here is a long drawn-out fight where they get the support ultimates up with chest. Under pressure right now, he's going to fall.
They force out the Primal Rage early on from Swoosh. He tries to work his magic around the point, trying to keep them away from it. And the overtime will eventually tick down as well now for Misfits. Both these teams, that was considered a transcendence by Zupe, but the kills, they're flowing in favor of Misfits right now. The entire kill feed is filled with blue, and with these final few players of Gigantti going to be falling, it will be Misfits going to be claiming round number 1.
Gigantti so close, yet so far. Look at Shaz and Big Goose there. They were about 15% each off of having crucial support ultimates that would have won them that fight. If Gigantti had even 10 more seconds, they could have stalled that out a little bit longer and made that fight a relatively clean win in all likelihood. So that was about as close as it gets on a controller.
Well, correct about that one. And now we're heading to Sanctum. Sanctum, a particular stage of the poll. In the past, teams who have been confident with their Reinhardt capabilities have often ran those traditional tank comps even into dive, because it is a very choke pointy map. There's a lot of sort of areas you can deny off of Reinhardt's shield. But in this case, Gigantti opting for, again, the exact same composition as they were running before. Lynx are going to be on that Genji, Darren on the Tracer.
What do you think it means that we're not seeing Tvik run the Doomfist here? Because he was more willing to experiment with Doomfist last week. Now, he's just moving in with the Soldier, and Misfits is playing this more standard.
It could be that they aren't putting emphasis on it, but as I say that, I mean, look at this. Zupe gets the initial pick onto Davin straight away off the bat. Gigantti fighting this one as a 4v6. Tvik with the Helix Rockets claiming that final kill, and this should be the reset by Gigantti again. The first point will be going to Misfits, but to talk about the previous point, the reason I don't think Tvik is using the Doomfist is mainly, I think, because players know there's going to be recent changes to Doomfist with his right click potentially. It's going to be nerfed quite a significant amount. Now, you know, fair enough, you can put in a lot of work in trying to find those kills on Doomfist roll, but at the end of the day, what is it going to be worth if he's just going to be changed later on down the line?
It does make sense. You want to practice what you'll be able to use in the future, but really worth noting here, Misfits has just been making this look easy. Nothing even remotely flashy, just good long-range picks coming in from Tvik and Zupe here. And that's sometimes all you need to derail a team. Gigantti has not been able to get a solid first push going at any point. Now, though, Bren, they are going to be moving in. They get some decent poke, but they back off once more.
It's a passive play by Misfits. They're just waiting for them to come inside of them, and now Sound Barrier will be committed here by Gigantti. And we see the pulse bomb in Logic's hand, seeing if he can commit it. Will he find the kill? Not quite. Zupe follows it up and evens it out. Fraggy will fall, and the Transcendence by Gigantti trying to keep them alive. They've got plenty of ult to commit to this CP if they want to try and cap this.
Gigantti right now looking for the opportunity of the barrier, now fading. Linkser with the blade in reserve. Tvik, though, does not care. Into the back with attack visor, making room required, and Logix is there on the follow-through. So Misfits, even though that got a little bit rocky, they're able to hold back Gigantti for a decent amount of time here, holding control all the while.
Fraggy, oh, he tried to have something to say about that. He got the initial pick, and he was so close to knocking him off. And now we see Linkser. He wants to move in. The Dragon Blade is active, and he picks up the kill onto Vic. Regardless, the DMEC by Manitou, this will be falling for them. Gigantti utilizing absolutely everything at their disposal to try and get this point. Logix will get booped back. The cap will flip to Gigantti, but still, Misfits, they built up 76%, and they are looking strong so far.
The one Interesting part here, though, is that it is a Sanctum on the Paul, and it can be difficult to get good engages. So this is something where Gigantti can bring it back. Of course, that's the Dragon Blade from Linkser. Not going to have that here on the next fight. And the next fight is starting to go underway here, where you see Logix working the outskirts. A little bit of Tracer versus Tracer here into the backline. But while that's going on, Linkser diving in first for Gigantti. Fragate Linkser taking the initiative.
Exactly what they needed. With those 2 picks, the DMAC on Maliton as well, this is pretty much a dead-in-the-water push for Misfits. And I think at the end of the day, they might have been just going for sort of an eco push to try and force out ultimates, but Gigantti are really just using all of their ultimates very effectively. They only committed Zappos' self-destruct in that fight, so they're still holding on to both support ults, as Big Goose is going to be building that up in the meantime.
Gigantti right now holding back. They have the Transcendence in reserve. And
nice.
Davin getting his man. There's no better pickoff here right now than getting Logix down early on.
And it is these picks, that's what decides these games at the end of the day, because it really does stall out precious time, which is so important on this control game mode. You can't be affording to lose these players. His pulse bomb! Davin, you madman! What is that? The 2K into the back of Gigantti are looking solid.
Davin role-playing as Logix himself, perhaps. A great pulse bomb to open things up and keep Misfits back. The advantage that they had, Bren, is now going away. And now they still have the positional disadvantage of having to attack in. And you just see, nice and easy from Davin. Over, in, done.
That's crisp, man. That's what you want to see. Now Logix, he wants to go for a play of his own. Pulse bomb committed into the back. Can find the kill, but Zappos will get demeched out of it. Now Maliton moves in with the self-destruct. The kills are flowing in now for Misfits. Gigantti are in a troubling scenario. But if they do manage to stall this out to the overtime, if they get somebody onto the point, this could be quite good for them. Linkser leaps in, 96%, but he will fall just before getting it ticked. Now, one last attempt. Now ZP, this is most likely going to be the final push.
The stage has been set, and now what you really want to focus in on here is Linkser and Zupe, where Linkser, he opened up the fight once very well with the Dragon Blade earlier, but now Zupe can counter that with Transcendence. The key here for Linkser is going to be to bait that Transcendence out and go in later. He's under pressure now, and the barrier comes in first.
Here we have it, the barrier used by Gigantti. They need to initiate in, they didn't get on the point! I don't believe it, I just assumed that they would have somebody on it, but they just could not do it. And what an anticlimactic way to finish that map out there. Misfits, I mean, they're going to be pleased with their performance, but Gigantti just wasting so much time there in the final moments.
That shouldn't happen. Period. Exclamation mark. Get on the point. Gigantti was in a little bit of a rough spot there, where they did have the barrier way before the Transcendence. Linkser didn't have a great opportunity to use the blade, but come on. Yeah, at least do the basics. Throw a body on the point.
Yeah. To be fair, Logix was distracting in the back lines and the Tracer. He was rotating around. You notice he brought Linkser down very, very low initially. That forced out the deflect, that forced out the swift strike as well. They didn't really have the mobility to try and make their way onto the point in the final moments. But again, shouldn't happen. You need to be managing your time effectively. That's what makes you a pro player, to be able to get onto the point in the nick of time and find it. But unfortunately, it does happen.
It does happen, and the reason is that players are going through multiple variables in their head where they're trying to time ultimates, they're trying to make sure that they don't rush onto the point in a way that gets them killed, but at the end of it, you have to keep it somewhat simple to the point of, please get on the point, because you can't make those errors where even if Gigantti, the win chances there of bringing that fight back were maybe 10, 15, maybe 20% at best, you still want to roll that dice and see, maybe this can happen. Maybe someone on the other team is going to mess up, and we'll have a crazy play like the Blade we saw of Cruz just a series ago. Instead, Gigantti didn't even give themselves that opportunity because they weren't able to get on the point.
Well, that'll be Misfits taking map number 1 at least, and the next map is already decided. Gigantti have chosen, and they've locked in King's Row. King's Row, speciality of almost this sort of centered tank plays. I am looking forward to this one. We're going to be seeing some Fraggy Ryan, I can almost guarantee it. Potentially even a bit of Hanzo coming out to play. Who knows? King's Row is a fantastic map to watch.
Interesting bit of trivia is that there was a point where Tavik would bring out the Hanzo rather easily on King's Row, whereas one of his specialties, you would see him bring it out rather often. It was King's Row and Watch Point Gibraltar, but we have gone somewhat away from the days where you'd see it frequently, but, you know, it has been coming back into vogue a little bit more often. So if today is a day of nostalgia, I would love to see Tvik come out with that Hanzo.
The beauty of Hanzo is it does work especially well against sort of tank-centered compositions, which is what teams normally like to run on King's Row, but especially for attacking that first checkpoint, so many different angles of attack. You know, you can use the wall climb from Hanzo, get up to the high ground positions, scatter arrow, finding these key pickoffs, and all you realistically need is one single pickoff, which Hanzo excels at.
Well, the other thing, too, is that you think about who Hanzo is likely to pick right now in this meta. Oftentimes, if you do get the pickoff, it's going to be on a big defensive hero like a 76. Like a McCree if it's being run in, Bren.
Yeah.
I thought about nostalgia at Tvik. One of the best highlights I ever saw was his Junkrat 6K on King's Row.
We've got a bit of a sneak peek here, casting this at the team's compositions, and if this is real, if Tvik is going to be rolling out this, you might even be able to hear it in the background. Oh, he's teasing us. He was teasing us. He was hovering over the Junkrat. He was looking at it, and he was thinking, yeah, shall I pull this out? But no, he's ended up switching to something a bit more safe, a bit more standard. Gigantti are going to be on the attacking side. Misfits on the defense. Now, standard comps again. Misfits a 2-2-2. Not with a double hit scan this time. Instead, Tvik is going to be on that Genji, which is a projectile. Of course, you keep Logix on the Tracer. He was paramount in their victory in that previous game.
I am heartbroken right now, Bren. I really thought the Junkrat would be coming out here. It made perfect sense. He's recently buffed. He's seen some recent play.
Yep.
No, Tvik going to the Genji.
One day.
My soul is hurting right now. I really want that to happen. But you take a look at the offense. Hanzo could still be in play here for Linkser.
I think it definitely will be, because Gigantti, this is almost a classic composition that they like to play, and Hanzo is just so effective, even against the dive compositions, because all you need is, as I said, a single pick.
Oh!
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Goodness me, put me on the analyst desk, because I'm predicting everything today. And with that single pick, that should set things absolutely up now for Gigantti.
Well, if you're right at least 40% of the time, you do have what it takes, Bren. As now we are moving in with Gigantti. Tvik does take down Fraggy to even it up, but when you're down a player here on the defense, this means that you have to wait for the respawn, and the offense can really get good positioning on you, and you still have to be wary of Linkser and the arrows, where one arrow to the head can and will end you.
I'm surprised Lynx is not playing the high ground right now. Obviously, he's scared because Logix is behind, and all it takes is Logix to basically just zip around, and he will get the kill, but the dive is in action. Misfits wants to take the aggression straight to them. Going to be moving in, seeing if they can pick up a kill or two. Zap is falling so weak in the midst of it, but the kills are going to be flowing on either side. Logix does bring down Shaz in the midst of it, and Lynx is searching for the scatter arrow. He finds it.
Logix might be logical, but he skipped Geometry class. A bad mistake when a Hanzo is in the game. And Linkser right now, plenty of room to work with, has gotten the kills needed here early on, and this puts Gigantti in a good spot as he's going to lob in the Dragon, over, through the wall, and will be zoning Misfits out.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It forces the positioning absolutely excellently by Misfits, and with that, they will get this initial checkpoint. Gigantti moving off the back of this, and they've got a whole bunch of ultimates to be working off now as they move into the streets phase. Zappis is so close to his own grab. Fraggy with the Earth Shatter and 2 support ults online. Now Misfits, what have they got to defend this with? Realistically, I think Logix is going to be the man to watch. His pulse bombs, they might be able to turn something around.
Logix, when he has a pulse bomb, he's always deadly, but we're watching justice right now, Bren. Misfits losing that point, I'm happy. They teased us with Junkrat, they broke our hearts. We'll see if Gigantti can keep this momentum going forward, though. Zappis holding on to the grab. We'll have a good opportunity for a setup here soon. Will he throw it in?
He's scared. Look at that double kill with the pulse bomb. Logix, that's what you needed. That's what it needed to set it up. And now Misfits can definitely get a solid defense going. I mean, Zappis, he was waiting. He was holding on to the Graviton Surge there because he wasn't sure whether or not to unleash it with Manatee still on the Diva. But as you can see, this is Logix's play right here. The pulse bomb, and I mentioned it. This is what they needed to try and get the fight going.
Good pulse bomb from Logix, and this is the threat when you go against Misfits. You have to deal with this on what feels like every third push, where every third push is simply shut down by Logix before it can begin. However, Gigantti right now, though under pressure, they are pushing forward. They have the Graviton in reserve, and here they go.
Absolutely moving in. They got the tactical visor trying to bring down Logix into the back. Whole load of ultimate. Shaz using the Transcendence to try and keep this ball rolling, but Manhattan answers back. The Self-Destruct will secure this fight, or at least it should, as Gigantti are crumbling. They're dropping like absolute flies, locked into the hotel. Zuppi will finish them up. The charge covered in. Fraggy just going absolutely mental there in the hotel area. Is this potentially going to be turned?
right now, Misfits,
They've
they're
lost a lot of
holding
players.
strong. They might have to back up because of the respawn advantage coming in from the offense, but this has been brutal here for Gigantti, and I gotta tell you, people have turned into skeletons waiting for Zappis to throw out his Graviton. He has not been able to find a good opportunity yet.
It's hard though, isn't it, right? When you're up against a diva like Maniton, where you just don't know when the South when you don't know when the defense matrix is going to be unleashed. It's so easy to just lose that very valuable ultimate. But Fraggy's moving in, he unleashes the Earth Shatter, but he doesn't actually get anything from it. Now the Graviton's going to be committed. Tvik is man, he's the only one caught into this. Zappis will manage to bring him down, and he's reasonably charged up, but is it going to be enough to try and finish out this fight, CP?
So far, it's looking good. Swoosh is under pressure, but no, Logic's in the back, finding Shaz. Misfits fighting back. Swoosh still alive. That was a kill Gigantti needed to finish there early on. They didn't. Now they're paying the price. He's healed back up, and Misfits maintaining a lot of pressure here to the payload. They're bending back a little bit, but that's only because they have a full 6 about to come back onto the point.
Now Fraggy's looking for opportunities. In fact, he's almost built up that Earth Shatter, but look at that pick. Shaz finds Logic. That's an entry they need right now. The aggression by Misfits, they need to try and punish this somehow, some way. Fraggy lays down the Earth Shatter, does connect it onto Swoosh. Now the Sound Barrier used to try and negate this, but Misfits, they've already lost him. Maniton is weak as well in the back. He's not involved in this fight. Damin unleashing the Tactical Visor among the enemy team, and he's found 2 kills apiece. I should say the D-Mech, and he will find a third, hopefully with the help of his team.
The tanks were taken down very early there from Gigantti to Misfits, and that just made it very difficult for Misfits to fight this back, but Logix and Tvik are still being a pain here towards the very end. We have Swoosh back into the fight. The Misfits are not done yet. He has a Primal Rage, and Gigantti, this is heartbreaking for them, but they might have to back out because Misfits, they're coming in with way too much power. I don't know if Gigantti realizes this, but they do have the grab in reserve.
Yes, this is it. This is it. It's the grab combo. They've got the Dragon Strike on Linksa. If he gets a big Graviton Surge off, it's exactly what they need to crack this defense wide open. You can see, though, the positioning of Misfits. It's perfect. It's all over the place, but Logic's falling to the Scatter Arrow. That's going to turn things around. The grab into the back. It secures it. Swoosh is going to fall to Vic as well. They're trapped in the Graviton Surge. The Transcendence is not going to save them from the side of Zupe, and with these frags falling in favor of Team Gigantti, this will most definitely going to be the second checkpoint going their way.
Very good stuff there from Gigantti, where it was interesting for Zappis. He wasn't looking for the mega team cleaving Graviton. He was looking for the safe Graviton in the back that could contain Tvik and Swoosh when they went to the back line. So he saw the dive moving in and says, oh, I'm just gonna drop this here. Drops the Graviton, seals the fight for Gigantti. Smart stuff. And now they have 2 minutes left to get from second to third.
Important to note, Fraggy has the Earth Shatter available. Dragon Strike by Linksa will be sent out. It's going to be forcing the positioning back of Misfits, not claiming any kills like they were really hoping for. But now the South Stroke Pulse Bomb as well. Explosives all over the place. Linksa ends up falling to his own death in the midst of it. What the heck is going on there, lad?
Well, he was exploring the Omnic housing development down below. That's clearly what's going on. They have vacancies. But Gigantti's still piling on,
Wow.
even without Linkser here. Linkser will be swapping to the Genji for the final stretch. They're keeping the pressure moving forward. Misfits, they're getting thrown back. And it might be Barrier versus Visor here, but that's not the worst for Visor in the situation. Misfits under the gun.
What's super impressive here is that the fact that Fraggy has actually managed to get that initial pick with the Earth Shatter, and now they're finding even more. Linksa, he's switched to the Genji now. He's looking for more than Reflex as well. Zippei falls. They're freed down. The Tactical Visor by Damin, looking for these kills, and they are 100% finding them. Zebasai, last man standing, not even going to be able to get it onto the point with the Sound Barrier in time, and it is 1 minute 12 seconds. That is the time that Gigantti have secured.
And as always, that is an important time. Anytime you can finish out a hybrid map with at least 1 minute and 1 second left on the clock, they've now put more pressure onto the victory condition here for Misfits, where it's not good enough for the Misfits to simply finish out the map. They need to do it with at least 1 second remaining, otherwise they don't get an attack.
Here's Logix again. He's searching for opportunities again. Shaz, man, you know, Logix is one of those players where you can say with utmost confidence you can take the 1v1 with the Zen players. And Shaz doesn't strike me off the top of my head as a player that, you know, is particularly strong when it comes to those Zen versus Tracer duels. You know, the first person that comes to my mind would probably be Boombox. But definitely turning up there. Logix may be biting off a bit more than he can chew, getting taken down.
It's always scary as a Tracer when you go in on a Zenyatta, because even though you know that you have the edge going in, there's always a possibility that you might not hit as much as you want to, and the Zenyatta could be bang on.
Yeah.
So it's always one of those cases where it feels bad when the Zenyatta kills you, but sometimes Zen can be the master of his own destiny.
You can indeed. You know, you got to be careful when you're trying to take the 1v1. You know, Tracer can melt a Zenyatta player super easily just because of his wide hitbox, but at the end of the day, he's got a lot of offensive power. And Linkser, this is the man to look at because look at this, Doomfist coming out to play as we expected, I suppose. I mean, this is going to be a very solid composition that Gigantti have run, tried and tested by teams like Gamers Origin, having great success with that.
Well, it's going to be Doomfist versus Doomfist, perhaps. There were hopes and dreams that Tvik might be going back to his Hanzo. We got it from Linkser. Probably not going to get it from Tvik here, but in a Doomfist v Doomfist battle, this can sometimes be pretty good here for the offense, because all they need is for Tvik to get one good early pickoff on this Doomfist, and that's already going to be putting Gigantti in a bit of a hole, unless Linkser can respond in kind and respond with authority.
The good thing about Gigantti's composition, though, is that they can actually save a player using the shields and whatnot from the charge of Tvik. They can change that rocket punch up, and now we see Tvik, he's looking for the opportunities. The hotel is going to be the angle of attack, I believe. No, the rotation, not too keen on trying to take it in as Gigantti, again, when you're running this tanker position, he's going for it. Will he find it? Yes, he does. Hole in one. Big Goose is down and out.
I don't know what golf you're playing at Bren, but it scares me. Either way, Misfits able to come in here early on and get the trade-outs that you need. Gigantti, even though it's not a clean sweep, they're not going to be able to reinforce this in time. And Logic's, this is his favorite game, clean up on everyone towards the end.
That's such a satisfying feeling, isn't it? When you're playing Tracer, the Discord orbs are perfect, and you're just shredding through the enemies, you know. Absolutely perfect stuff. And Misfits, they have secured that. That was the first attacking attempt. 5.5 minutes on the clock for them to try and secure this third checkpoint, at least 3 checkpoints to get a decent time on the board. 100% doable, and look at this. Logic's, he's getting a bit antsy. He's got a post bomb in hand. He wants to see some plays happen. He wants to see some magic. He wants to set his team up.
Logic's, if nothing else, likes exploring the opportunities. If you will throw a body in front of him that he can put a sticky explosive on, well, frankly, Bren, he's going to take that opportunity. Speaking of ambushes right now, you have Tvik right now in the back line, just hoping that someone enters the pub. He's looking for that pub brawl.
Well, Tvik now, he's looking for it, and this is the danger zone right now for Gigantti, because you overextend, you overstay your welcome, could potentially be meeting your maker. Fraggy is there, but there's rising uppercut into the upper area, and they're trying to lay down the damage. Zappis is so weak, and he will eventually fall, entering this up for them now, but Fraggy, he lays down the law. That's going to be a massive earth shatter, but the sound barrier to boot.
And the law delivered by a hammer, but sometimes the law is ineffective. Clearly, lawyers are had right now from the Misfits, as they do not care. They shirk the law, and they keep the payload moving forward.
This is beautiful stuff. And Tvik, look at this. We see a pause. That's exactly what I was going for. Look at this pause, Puckett. Look at this. My goodness. Right, but the ultimate situation, Tvik, he's got the Meteor Strike. He's got to set this up, but this should be the second checkpoint now going to the side of Misfits. Gigantti, they're sweating a little bit, you know. They're pulling their collars back. They're thinking, okay, guys, what have we got to do to try and stagnate this push?
Well, I think a good start would be stop giving up the first kill in every team fight. That's generally a good way to approach things, because Gigantti has been playing from behind this entire defense, where every time they engage, they lose someone early on. In the first fight, it was a Lucio. Just there, they lost Rosaria, who, while durable, if you get hit by a Doomfist and the follow-up is there, it's going to be pretty hard to live. So Gigantti needs to be a little bit careful on their engages, that they're not always fighting what is effectively a 5-on-6.
That's absolutely right. You know, Tvik has been almost a dominating figure here in this initial round that we've been watching on the Doomfist. He's been getting the picks. He's been slamming, you know, the players into the walls. You saw the initial entry on the first point that we just saw. He got it onto Big Goose almost instantly. You know, you can't afford to get picked off. You know, as easy as that is to say, you know, Doomfist, the radius of his fist is massive. It's like a freight train. It just slams into people and just insta-kills them. But you still can't afford to get picked off like that, because it can mean defeat. It can just mean those little instant picks can mean the difference between winning and losing.
Look, if nothing else, Doomfist was an accurately named character. I like that in my media that I enjoy. I mean, just be straight up with people. Mr. Doom.
They said that he's supposed to be able to level a side scraper, but regardless of that one, we see Tvik, he wants to commit the Meteor Strike into the back, seeing if he can find the kills off the back of it. Will he get one? Yes, he does. Big Goose falls.
Big Goose has been the victim of this fist over and over again, and the Misfits, they crush Gigantti here on second point. And now, 5 minutes, 30 seconds left to bring this payload from second to third. This is a blazing fast time that could easily destroy the time Gigantti just put on the clock.
What a nutty time. 5 minutes, 20 seconds to push this one in. Gigantti of trying to opt now to Linkser. They put him onto the Widowmaker. They need this initial pick. They need this insta-kill potential. Logix is waiting. He's like Batman at the top of here. He's going to be jumping down with a pulse bomb any minute now. Vic finds the entry. Pulse bomb. Did it connect? Yes, indeed he do. It did. Davin is out and down for the count. He follows it up. And with these pellets just laying into the enemies, this will be, again, another one fight for Misfits.
He's just scarier than Batman, really. Batman doesn't kill people.
That's right.
Logix, he plays people, man. He's basically a Bolton at this point. So Misfits right now keeping the momentum going strong. They are down a few players, and Gigantti can come out here with a sound barrier engaged. So maybe Misfits wants to back up a bit and get full, and that is in fact what they're going for.
Well, Misfits, as you mentioned, they back off now. They're waiting for the appropriate time to re-engage just when they have a Transcendence available to them. And they're getting very, very weak around it. Now they're going to start to commit to CP as they move into the next fight.
The Transcendence out now for Misfits. They lost to Vic early on, but Logix has been the great equalizer. Moving in and around, they drop the beat, and now Gigantti is on the back foot. They have to respect the music, and Linkser, though, on the Widow, making some space, but now you got to touch the payload.
I can't believe that he's still on this Widowmaker making these plays, but Logix is still zipping and zooping and diving around the map right now. Linkser still finds the pick. Fraggy now lays down the Earth Shatter, but it only connects onto the one in this defense. It looks done. I don't agree with that Transcendence, Shaz, but they do manage to get them. Maybe he's a bit overexcited, you know. He just thought, guys, I'm helping. I'm going to jump on a Transcendence.
We're being too kind here, Bren. That was an awful Transcendence.
Yeah, no,
the fight
terrible.
was won, and maybe it was a misclick in the best of opportunities, or worst of case, he just misread the fight. Either way, that's a good ult to have on the defense that they're not going to have.
There we have it. Misfits now with another opportunity. Remember, they've still got 3.5 minutes to try and make some magic happen. We see the self-destruct coming out into the back. Nobody going to be falling to it, but of course the positioning now. The Graviton, it actually connects onto 3 of them. Logix is doing his hardest to try and bring them down, and he does manage to pick up the double kill, at least for his team.
Logix, again, the X-Factor into the back. Shaz, his prey. Logix, the hunter, moving in, looking for it. Not able to fish it outright, but Manitin is there for the assist. And now, Logix has put Misfits over the top. A one-man wrecking crew indeed.
This is the one-man show. You know, Zappis is on it. You know, we see Fraggy, he actually switched to the Tracer to try and stall this out, but can you compete with Logix? If you can't shut him down, it's almost going to be impossible for you. The players are coming in. Davin is there, but with this, the payload will move in, and it's almost 3 minutes on the clock. The Misfits have managed to accrue a wonderful completion by them.
Very good stuff from Misfits here, where now the pressure is on Gigantti. Gigantti will be the next to attack, and given the time deficit that they're facing, Gigantti's win condition here is not only to take first point, but to have a long overtime push where time is run out, but they still get to push a payload until they lose a team fight.
Yeah.
Gigantti needs to have one of those miracle pushes to really equalize what Misfits has done here in having a much faster attack.
That being said, now we see Gigantti. They're going to be, again, sticking to traditional tank compositions. They may choose to switch this up again. It is still the pre-game for now. Misfits, they are on the defense. Now they've got a big road ahead of them if you want to be trying to secure this map out from under them. But again, they are in the favorable position. They've got much more time than Gigantti to work with. And look at this, Manitin, if he sticks with this is interesting because they're opting for the Zarya when this is almost like a old school dive in a way where instead of the Diva, you run the Zarya and you use the shields to initiate in.
It'll be interesting to see just how this works out because when we've been seeing Zarya recently, we've been seeing it more with Doomfist, but Zarya at points was best friends with a Genji as well, so depending on how Misfits wants to play this, Vic can actually dive in a little bit deeper than normal if Manitin is there with the support.
Logix is available. He has that pulse bomb combo potential as well. But now Gigantti are going to start to roll out with their composition. Again, Linkser on the Hanzo. He was paramount in them securing that first kill. And if he gets an early pickoff, this could be big for them.
Gigantti now moving forward. Linkser on the Hanzo, playing archery. That's a good headshot early on. It will make Manitin a little bit further back, but Logix finds Shaz. Gigantti not able to move in quite as well as a team, and they're getting thrown back.
They are indeed pushed back into the choke point right now as it stands. Gigantti are very, very weak. Heals are slow coming as it stands, and Fraggy just has to wait and sit still. He's using a ton of damage. They're just trying to build up these support ults as it stands because Bigus is very close to his own sound barrier. In fact, that's the sort of game plan here. I've just noticed Fraggy was not holding up his shield. He's just trying to build up that sound barrier as quickly as possible.
It's very good stuff from Bigus here, and smart for Gigantti to prioritize the sound barrier. They'll have an edge here if they don't get picked off early, but Misfits diving in, punished. Swoosh out early on to Vic under pressure, needs to get out. Gigantti, now they have the barrier, and they're going to break it down.
Absolutely, moving in now with the sound barrier. This is exactly what they were waiting for. This is the opportunity. Zappis claiming 2 kills for the rest of his team. Now Zebasai tries to stall it out, but he will eventually fall, or will he? Yes, he will indeed. having built up the type of divisor just in the nick of time. The overtime will finally start to burn down. Lynx will deal with Tavik in the back. But now, here's the danger zone, ZP, because they got to stay sticking to this cart. They cannot leave it for a moment's notice. And we've seen in the past, teams, when they get in this position, they often lose that first initial point at that choke that we can see.
And the reason why they would get taken down that choke point is Manitin. Graviton Surge is at the ready. It's going to come in a little bit earlier than Zappis. And Misfits, they have a great situation here to just end Gigantti right here and right now. You Graviton into Pulse Bomb. It's a Big Bang combo. They have to somehow avoid getting wrecked by Manitin here.
There's the trouble. The initiation comes in now. The Graviton Surge connects onto a few of them, but it's for both the teams! Logic's, you absolute nutter! 4K off the blast, and that will be that. Misfits gonna get a decent hold there in the Streets phase, and they've got time to work with ZP. 3 minutes and counting for them to just push it, just a short ordeal down the road.
Normally, I will praise Logic's at all points, but I think you have to give that one more to Manitin, where he was able to find the right moment to just drop that Graviton in, and it made things really easy for Logic to shift, Pulse Bomb, done.
Yeah, that was 100% going to be the Manitin show there, absolutely. And that's what I was talking about, because often you see teams in that position with the overtime ticking down, they have to stick with the cart, which means they're stuck in that choke point. And when you're up against a Zarya with a Graviton, it's almost always going to be a team wipe unless you get something like a lucky reflex or even a defense matrix eating it. That's realistically the only way you're going to be surviving that.
The thing is, Graviton is also much stronger now than it was a patch previously, where you cannot use any escape abilities to get out. Not that every hero could to begin with, but it does make it much more of a team wipe ability than it was even before, which does mean that if you're going into that corridor and you have any reason to believe a Graviton might be up, perhaps you are encouraged to go to a Genji or a Diva just for the possibility of flipping the Graviton back the other way.
Well, this is it. Do or die time. Misfits on the attack. And again, they've got Manitin on the Zarya, Tavik on the Doomfist, Logic's on that signature Tracer roll. They're up against Gigantti. We're also going to be running that traditional tank composition. Linkso with the Doomfist. ZP, they are looking for the initial fight.
And remember how easy this is for the Misfits here, too. They only need one, or they do need to get the payload moving, but they don't have to move the yellow box victory all that far. They have 2.5 minutes to do this. So they're working with a significant time advantage here early on. And knocked back and slept. All right, take a nap, Vic. Take 5.
What is cracking though in the meantime? Because Manitin, he's not got much energy, but he's putting in the work as it stands. And the hotel has been claimed right now by Gigantti. They need to try and defend this one around the rotations. Fraggy's so weak. He's going to be falling. That's a big entry kill for Misfits now moving into this one.
Misfits setting the stage. Nothing too crazy, but getting the kills they need here early on. Manitin uncontested here to the back. Good position to lay in the damage to Zarya and shield his team. And just strong mechanical play from the Misfits here. A team effort with, of course, Logic's doing his work in the back.
Right, 2 minutes to speak of, and look at how far this car has to move. And already, Misfits, they're on the prowl. They're searching for the forward spawns. Look how far away some of these players are. Is that Fraggy hiding? It is. They spotted him, though.
Reinhardt, you're... Oh, what?
Fraggy!
Oh, no!
What is that? The chance, the prediction, I'm pretty sure he did not intend for that. But
no, that's 900 IQ from Fraggy. He baited him, they thought he was hiding, and he found Logix. There's no other... No, don't tell me there's another explanation. There's not. But now Misfits moving forward.
I didn't even realize Link's he switched to the Mei. He's stalling this one out with the Mei wall now, trying to pop them off at this choke point. The soundbar by Misfits will get committed here. Now we see Tavik, he's moved over to the Farah, searching for the opportunities. 2 kills, 3 kills for Misfits, and they fall like dominoes. This would be it. This should be it. Misfits, as they claim the final few kills, they're going to be winning map number 2.
Well, crazy Reinhardt heroics and the weirdest situation aside, Misfits was working with ult advantage. They were working with a big time bake advantage. And in the end, Gigantti not able to reset in time, which means Misfits are now 1 map away from taking the series win.
Whew. I mean, I thought Linksa switching to the Mei in the final moments there was going to be a big turning point for them, because Mei's one of those heroes that has the potential to stall it out quite well. I noticed he went into the ice block pretty early on to stall this one out. And here's that pulse bomb by Logic's for 2K, and he follows it up into the backlines. But it just couldn't be done. As you mentioned, Misfits had the superior ult advantage into that fight. It was almost theirs to win, almost theirs to take.
Well, it was very good stuff coming out from Misfits, no doubt about it, where we knew Gigantti was strong from their performance against United, but this new Misfits roster powered by Logix has looked good.
incredibly good. Logic's, you can't underestimate how good this guy is on the Tracer, and I'm eager to see what people are going to be saying about him, because in the near future, in the past, I've heard from pro players, Logic's is one of the best players, right, in the scene when it comes to Tracer, and I always heard it from the EU scene, but until you actually see it with your own 2 eyes, you never quite believe it.
All right, guys, well, to talk to us about Logic's and also tell you about how he can curse teams better than the Analysts, let's throw it back to Puckett on the desk.